Sheena Hemens, welcome to the Marketing for Business podcast.
Thank you very much, Scott. I'm very happy to be here.
Look, I've known you for a wee while, actually.
You have?
Yeah.
I
And
cannot remember how we first met.
no,
It was a long time ago.
it might have been something to do with Melissa Harborfield.
Yes.
She had an event on or something like that. So
I think I came and did one of your courses somewhere
yeah.
along the line. So a bit of history.
Well, it's good that you wanted to come and talk to me after all of that. No, actually, Olivia who works with us and is a business partner here at Digital Influence, she was doing a talk, and you were also doing a talk.
I was.
And Olivia said, "Hey, you need to get Sheena on the podcast. She's got a story, and she's inspiring people. She's making an impact, but at the same time, you've been through a lot. And I respect that you've come on today to tell your story. And I want to, I guess." At the same time, enjoy this conversation. I do know that you have been through a number of things. So, firstly, on your daughter, condolences for
Thank you.
what happened to Lauren. And I know you're, part of this is for you is keeping Lauren alive, which I think is really, really cool. The fact that you said that, it means a lot to me. So, where do we start? So, I think, firstly, you've got an English accent.
Yes,
But you've been in New Zealand for 30 years.
I have, and I'm not a typical English rose, but yes, I was born in London.
Wow.
And it's very much who I am.
Yep.
I'm very, very much a British person. I'm not a whinging pom. I'll just say that now. I came to this country 30 years ago with my ex-husband and my twin daughters when they were just over one. And we've never gone home.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been back for holidays, obviously, but
What was it?
right here.
Why did you decide to come to New Zealand?
That was an ex-husband thing.
Yeah.
He had come over here for work. He was in the British Army. He'd come over here on an exchange thing called Long Look with the guys out at Burnham camp.
Okay.
And he just fell in love with the country.
Yeah.
And he's a real outdoorsy kind of person. And he said, "You'll love it. It'll be great."
Yeah.
I'm not an outdoorsy person. So it did take me a while to kind of get into it, but I met amazing people and just fell in love with the freedom and the space and just everything really about it. We've only ever lived in Christchurch. I have totally embraced Christchurch as my home. I feel really passionately about the city and absolutely love it. Worked, after the earthquake, I was working very closely with Sarah and the council.
I remember that.
Running different events and trying to do things to help the city get back on its feet. So I feel really proud of the city that it's become. Yeah. And I'm really grateful to be here. But I'm a Brit.
You're a Brit. You're a Brit, but now a Kiwi. So were you cheering for the All Blacks? Or
Look, I have to say, I wasn't cheering for anyone because
me neither.
I'm really not very sporty. So, but I should do because I'm actually working in the rugby sort of arena as such now, which I'll get onto later.
Yeah,
but
I'm excited to talk about that. One thing I do remember, because I met you definitely around some of that earthquake time. You're definitely a sort of person that pitches in and helps, right? Like you're not one to sit on the sidelines and go, "Oh, okay." Well, you actually get in and start figuring ways out. And I guess that was kind of your, the times we've met, the entrepreneurial spirit that you've had,
Yeah, and I didn't grow up with that as a background or as a possible idea or something that I could do. It grew within me. And I think when just before the earthquake, I'd actually was working for an investment bank.
Okay.
And in the background, really, I was kind of corporate services, that kind of thing, doing some marketing. And I was really fortunate that one of the top clients of that investment bank saw something in me, and she encouraged me to go out on my own.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
And
that's cool.
I think, it's also influenced the way that I think about helping others.
Yeah.
But because she was really instrumental in me finding the confidence, I kind of felt, well, if she believes in me, then maybe there's something there.
Yeah. I always say to young people all the time, like sometimes, you don't have to believe in yourself. You just have to know that someone else believes in you. And I'm that person.
Yes.
And I believe in you. So whatever you're doing, just know that someone's got your back. And I think that means so much. And for someone to say that to you, it goes, oh, maybe I can do this. Because everyone has a level of self-doubt, right?
Oh, absolutely. And I was just about to say that, you have to listen It's so easy to listen to the little voice inside your head, one that sits on your shoulder, whether that's a parent or a sibling or a friend or somebody who said something awful and made you feel less than, or that you were not enough. It's really easy to let that voice be the loudest. But I think it's extremely important to actually listen to the people who tell you they believe in you and to believe them rather than that little voice. And that was something that I did with her, and she was, I'll always be grateful to her. And I actually set up my own marketing and events agency.
Brilliant.
And and she was one of my first clients, and she was amazing. And I picked up a lot of work through the council. And then obviously there was the earthquake, and it was just, how can I help?
What did you like about setting up your own business? What was the firstly, was it scary? Because you hadn't come from that kind of area background.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. It was scary. I had massive imposter syndrome. And there was a lot to learn. Made a lot of mistakes. I love Richard Branson, and I've read a lot of his work, as I'm sure that you have. And I remember him saying, accept and say yes to everything. And if you don't know how to do it, just find someone who can. And I pretty much kind of rolled with that principle that I was a resourceful person.
Nice.
And if I didn't know how to do it, I would find someone that could either show me, teach me, or do it for me. And I went along with that kind of attitude, and it served me. And and I knew that what I did well. And was good at building relationships as well, which I think in the city is really important.
Very, very important. One thing I got from that, though, you have a growth focused mindset. Where did you get that from? Was that from family? Was it from reading books and stuff? Because you meet a lot of people, you can pretty much tell if you have a growth focused mindset or a fixed mindset. And I always like talking to people who have a growth focused mindset, because they work on the side of being part of the solution, not part of the problem.
And being the better version every day that you were yesterday. And I think it definitely did not come from my parents. So I think, and when I, just going back a little bit in time, when I was young, when I was a teenager, I was impossibly shy. Really, I mean, the thought of standing up in the class and answering a question made me have a panic attack. The thought of, if someone had said to me, oh, well, in a few years' time, you'll be on a podcast or two and making speeches, I would have just laughed at them.
True.
Because I was so nervous and I was so shy and insecure and couldn't imagine it. So I think that over a period of time, and, and I speak about this when I do talks and things, is that all the little things that happen over your lifetime are the things that put these building blocks in of resilience, of confidence. And for me, I was a bit of a late starter. It didn't really happen for me until after my divorce. And I was 40 then. Before that, I was really quite shy, lacking in confidence. I was a mum. I didn't really think that I could be much more than a mum. And being a mum is an amazing thing.
Job.
Don't get me wrong.
One of the most important, if
It's
not
one
the
of the
most important.
things to do.
True.
But I thought that was all really that I could do. And it was when I separated, I was on my own. I was raising the 3 kids in joint custody with my ex-husband, and opportunities came along. And I think I just took them, and I realized that I could do more. Each opportunity I took, I realized, actually, I think I've still got capacity in the tank.
I like it.
So
you started to believe in
I
yourself.
started to believe it. was a bit like Neo in the Matrix. I started to feel like, I can do this. And then I really did read a lot. I am a lifelong reader. So, I was reading all of the How to Win Friends and Influence People and all of the kind of key books that I think that we all know and have on our bookshelf. I actually read them. And
the ability to stand on the shoulders of giants, and that's I love that. They got a full library in there, and like the wisdom that's in some of those books, if you then just apply them, and I think that's you would have read the but then applied it. That is such a gift that the world can give you, right?
It really is. And then also, I think the other thing is reading other people's stories and seeing where they came from, and realizing that they were nothing special. And that they could have come from exactly the same kind of background or worse than yourself. And if they could do it, why couldn't I? And I think one pivotal moment for me, which might make you giggle, was I don't know if you went when Richard Branson came to Auckland and he did a big talk and there was a big dinner. I don't know if you went to it. I went to it. And I was so excited about Richard Branson. I actually met him. I do have a photo of him with me, which is pride of place. But the thing that was most amazing and memorable for me was that when he got up and spoke, he was terrible. He was not a public speaker.
I've heard that.
He was umming and ahhing and stuttering and didn't know quite, I mean, he knew what he was talking about, but his delivery of it. And that moment I went, this man is incredible. I've admired him my whole life. And yet he can get where he's got to being like that. I can do this. I can do whatever.
How good. Like just to see that, and realize. And look, that's probably one of the reasons he's up there. Because he wants other people to realize that it's not everything that other people say it is, like they're.
Well, he's nothing special. That's what he says. And I love that.
I think that's why I love doing podcasts. Like interviewed, I think it's around 175 episodes now. You get to meet people and you realize, this levels of degrees of success and what people go through and all this sort of stuff. Everyone's learning along the way. But you meet highly successful people and you realize they're just like you. If you pinch them, they'd go, ow, and like they've just done a few more things. Some people just done a few more things. And then, but one of the greatest conversations I had was with Olivia on the podcast. And we talked, well, what does success actually mean? And what does success look like for you? Because I think that's the challenge with a lot of people. You see a Richard Branson, and if you don't go see him live, you don't know because you just put him up on this pedestal, right? And then you saw him, you went, oh, actually. But for a lot of people, I think they chase something that's not, they haven't defined what success looks like for them. And I think that's I think a real important one for people as well.
But it can change, and this is the thing that I have found over the last few years. My desire for success and my perception of success has changed because of what has happened. And I think that might be a good segue into the story because, when I've had a couple of businesses and I had after I owned the event and marketing company, I opened Maison de Crepe, a restaurant which I planned to franchise and to make a global statement with. And I truly believed that I could do it. Unfortunately, when COVID came along, it was 8 years after we'd opened. We'd only just opened the new place in Maribel, spent a lot of money. We literally had nothing in the tank to get through COVID. It was, you needed to have deep pockets. We didn't have that. And so we limped along for, a bit longer. But I think that during that whole time of building those businesses, my perception and what I wanted from success had a lot to do with other people's perception of me. I wanted other people to recognize that I was successful. I wanted other people to see the trappings of success. I wanted to be, visually known as being someone, wow, that's Sheena. She's really got a great business and she's really smart and everything. Honestly, after the business closed and after the accident in which my daughter passed away, all of that really, really changed. And I can quite honestly say that what other people think of me now means absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing.
And that is such it's a like for a lot of people, they never get there. I was lucky enough to learn that a long, long time ago with Brad Sugars. I remember him standing in a seminar and I remember him vividly saying, I don't remember much else what he said, but he spoke to me when he was saying it. What anyone else ever thinks of you is none of your business. And it hit me like a lightning bolt because up until then I worried, and it was like,
we all do.
And then from then on, I just grew that muscle that I don't actually care.
I mean, you have to care, as in, like, there's people that I care about.
My family.
And you are the same. You all have those people that are important to you, and you will care about what they think. They've earned the right for that.
But the people that put you down, the people that give
and
you...
the people you don't even know,
No.
who you think you need to impress. I mean, I was heading that way anyway. I was just like, you know what, I don't care. But after everything that happened, knowing that people, whatever people thought, it's not important right now. I have to focus on me, my loved ones, and just getting through each moment in time. And it really honed, I suppose, my perception of myself. It made me start to think about who I was as a person and who I wanted to be. I looked at my daughter, Lauren, and she was 27 when she died.
She was in interior design.
No, she was fashion.
So
so
and she was really good at it too.
Yeah, she was, and she won an award down here when she finished her course at art, and then she was one of the few people to get a job, but she got a job at Mucci in Auckland. She moved up there, and she had just done a couple of years with them, and 3 weeks before the accident, she had got a promotion and changed jobs to go to Posty Plus as a I don't know what exactly the title was, but as a designer with Posty Plus, who are a great company with a lot of training behind them and opportunities for travel and all that kind of thing. She was so excited, and then 3 weeks into the job, she was on her way to work and was hit by a car. So it was a trauma as well as as grief. When you lose someone quickly, like that, unexpectedly, and then I don't want to go too much into the grief aspect of it because I'll probably cry and but the trauma of it is really hard to deal with. And I will say about grief is something that is I'd never experienced in the same way. I did lose my father when I was 17, but it was very, very different. I was young and I was in denial, and at the time we weren't close, and so this was really different. Losing a child is just unnatural. But it made me understand something, that grief is different for everyone. There is no right and there is no wrong way to grieve. I beat myself up a lot about not crying enough, not being a wailing, like a wailing mother at the funeral. I was really composed. I don't remember a lot about the funeral, but I was composed. I got up and I spoke. I don't actually know how I did it. And I judged myself actually a little bit for it. And I would just say to anyone out there going through something similar, please don't judge yourself, because I wasted so much time and energy being really hard on myself about, I'm not grieving enough, I'm not crying enough, I'm not doing it in the right way. There is no right way.
No.
There really isn't. And we just need to be kinder and more compassionate to ourselves when we're going through those really tough times, no matter what it is, a business failure, a marriage breakup, whatever it is, that we are doing the best that we can.
I remember when my nana passed away, and the family kind of looked at me and said, "Right, you're talking." And I was like, whoa. Like, there's
How old were you?
I would have been, I got back from overseas, so I was probably 28.
Okay.
And I was like, really? And no one else? And like, so that was a lot, right? And when my dad passed away, my brother's like, "You're talking," and mum passed away. I was like, "I'll do it anyway," But I vividly remember, like, probably like yourself, a wee bit getting up there, and everything just comes into a blur. And that grieving, I definitely have caught myself sometimes with my mother, especially. You think, did you cry enough? Did you, and that's when I'm thinking back now, you shouldn't be so hard on yourself, because you actually played another role for everyone else as well, like to be strong and to stand up and to show, and to be able to speak those words shows a grief in another way.
It does. And also I think it's hard for men, men in New Zealand, men aren't not like British men, it's not really, it's about being tough and the whole cement pill and all of that kind of thing. And actually men are not encouraged to
No,
cry and
no.
grieve, and it is really important. But you have to find ways to do it that align with who you are. And I actually found my voice during this whole time. I found that actually speaking to my friends and family about Lauren to keep talking, as you know, and keeping her memory alive was a way for me to grieve, to remember, to honor her. And sometimes, yes, I would cry. Other times I actually found that the feelings would be more manageable when I had vocalized how I was feeling. And so I just, for me, this journey that I've been on has been a self-discovery as much as learning about grief and learning about loss. But one thing I did learn, and I must admit that Lucy Hone, who I don't know if you know her, but many of you will do, she lost her daughter when Abby was 12 years old in a car accident. And she's, you know, is an academic, and she's an incredible fountain of knowledge when it comes to grief and resilience and dealing with loss. And I found her TED Talk, The 3 Secrets of Resilient People, incredibly useful. And it would be great if you could link that here, because I think that would really help a lot of people. I listened to it 3 times in a row when I first heard it. And I realized, which I had not thought before, that I actually was resilient, because the 3 secrets that she talked about, I was already doing them, and I was completely unaware. And this is where I started to learn, I think, that all of the times in my life when I've faced challenges and had difficult times and struggled had been kind of building within me this strength, this wall of resilience. And when it came to it, really needing it,
It was there for you.
it was there. And I'm really grateful to her for that TED Talk. It's incredible. And the other thing was her book. A friend of mine actually sent me her book, Resilient Grieving. And that is just such an incredible tool for helping anyone who is going through grief, but also anyone who is in a relationship or a child of someone who is going through grief, because it's got a whole section on how to talk to people and how to manage with someone if you've got friends who have had a loss and you don't know how to manage them.
What were some of the things that stood out for you that it allowed you, and what are some of the things that you'd already noticed? Because not only like in we're going through Lauren, you'd also lost a business that you'd been putting like 8 something odd years into. You had a lot of stacking going on.
Well, so I learned from those books, there's a thing called secondary losses, which I had never heard before. So secondary losses are losses that happen either as a result of the main loss, or things that subsequently happen, and losses that you have. And I had quite a lot of those all in one go. And I think, so obviously I had the business which happened before, but I was still grieving, you know. I mean, I put everything
into that.
And it was my baby. So I was already in a vulnerable situation when the accident happened.
Because you weren't looking to create a restaurant, you were looking to create businesses.
I was.
You're an entrepreneur that was looking to expand. So your thinking was way out there. You weren't just running a crepe business.
No, I never wanted to stand there and make crepes or run a restaurant or anything like that. I wanted to run a business, and I believed, and I was setting it up from day one to be a franchise. I had that mindset, and I had that belief that it could be. There were no other, you know, crepe or that kind of dessert franchises around at the time. And I thought, well, why not? We're doing it well. We've got a great product. We've got great food costs. Everything works well. The customers love it. So we were building towards that. So losing that was like losing part of my identity, losing a baby or whatever you want to call it. And then obviously the accident happened. But also, I was actually in a relationship for 2 years at that, or almost 2 years, 1.5 years or something. And it wasn't particularly going well. And I knew that. But when the accident happened, he just did not have within him the tools to be able to create any empathy or kindness towards me. For the 3 weeks after the loss of my daughter, he was unable to give me a hug
Oh, wow.
or, talk to me about it or anything.
Yep.
And I won't, it's not anybody's
Yeah.
business. He had his own reasons for that and why.
Yeah.
But as far as I was concerned, I was like, this is not serving me. I am actually unable to grieve. I have been betrayed, and I felt really sad and angry about the fact that he couldn't be there for me, and I was forced to leave. 3 weeks, I had to pack my bag 3 weeks after my daughter died and move out of his house, and I pretty much kind of felt homeless because I felt like I had nowhere to go. I made a decision to move and didn't think it through because I was completely
But you took your own
grief-stricken.
power, though, back, right? Like, that's to
Well, I
some
did.
degree.
It didn't feel like that at the
No.
time, but yes, I did, and I'm actually really proud of myself for that. And that's when my friends kind of came there and
Nice.
really helped me. I moved in with some friends and then stayed with them for a little while, and then I moved in with someone else who I call my fairy godmother. She was amazing. She looked after me for 3 months and made me cups of tea and brought me tissues, and we walked on the beach. And yeah, I was very grateful to the people around me for all of the help. And this is when I guess my story of gratitude comes in, which is the biggest thing. Is all of those, the secondary loss of losing my home and all, realizing that I had all of these things around me, not things. I didn't care about things. What I cared about were my photos of my family, the trinkets that you collect over the years, the little knickknacks,
those memories, right?
Yeah, all the memories. I didn't have those with me. I literally just packed a couple of bags and moved. And when some friends helped me find a place to live because I wasn't working either. I was unable to work. I really had quite a breakdown.
Yeah.
And they helped me find a place. They guaranteed it for me. Someone paid my bond. I was so grateful for the people in my life who truly showed up for me. And it just started to make me feel so full of gratitude.
It's real wealth, right?
It is.
I always say to people, wealth is not the money that you have in your bank account.
Absolutely not.
Wealth is when things like what you went through happened and who you can call and who comes running. That's the true wealth of life. And I think that's pretty cool to hear. You've got people in your corner that really stood up for you.
Oh, incredible. And then the one of the other secondary losses was my dog died. My 14-year-old little puppy, Alfie Spoodle. He got really sick and I had to put him down. And that was like the final straw. Losing a little fur baby was just awful. So yeah, it was really felt, I think in the speech that I did that Olivia heard, the title of it was The Year the Universe Gave My Life an Enema, because that's what it felt like.
Yeah, true.
Sorry.
Well, like, honestly, that's from a lot of,
It felt like everything was leaving and that I couldn't hold on to anything.
Yeah. Do you find a point where you kind of not draw a line in the sand, but how do you build yourself back up from that? Like, what was you obviously read the books and you started implementing some things. What was that starting process like? Because, there'll be people listening to this that have gone through grief and trauma, and there'll be people that are, maybe losing their business, and there may be people that are, thinking, where do I start to come back from this?
Well, first of all, I'll just step back a bit and say, I think before you can come back from it, you have to live there for a while.
Yep.
You have to acknowledge what you've been through.
Yep.
You have to give yourself some grace and some time.
Yep.
And you have to acknowledge the heaviness and the importance of what you've been through. I think without acknowledging that and thinking about it and really letting yourself explore those feelings, I don't think it's actually possible to come back. I think that if you try to come back before you do all of those things, it's like putting a plaster over a gaping wound.
Yeah, that's a good takeaway.
Right? Because you're not actually starting the healing process. In order to form the scab, to use that analogy.
Which was probably what a lot of guys do, right? They kind of try and move on real fast, right? Without, hey, let's just sit here for a bit.
Yeah. I think it's really, I think that even though it was hard because I wasn't working, I didn't have an income, I was, really just struggling with all of the emotions. But it was the most important thing. Now looking back, this is, it's almost 2.5 years since the accident, and since my life kind of unraveled. I am grateful for that time.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time sleeping, which is really important. Grief is really tiring. Your body's trying to deal with a lot of things. Your brain is trying to process and deal with a lot of things. It's important to sleep. It's important to take stock. And I did all of that. And little by little, there were things that became apparent were good to help me start that rebuilding process. But I did a lot of, eating McDonald's and chocolate and sitting at home and watching. I watched the whole of Game of Thrones, which I've never seen.
So not a bad. Well, that's actually pretty cool.
Well, because it was fantasy. You couldn't watch a lot of normal TV.
No.
Something happened and it reminded me of the accident.
Yeah, true.
There wasn't anything on Game of Thrones that reminded me of anything. So that was great. But I did kind of distract myself a bit, and that was good self-care. But I also went out for walks. I went to the gym, and I did spent a lot of time with friends and a lot of time talking.
Hey, it's 2026. You're listening to this podcast and you've probably heard of AI. So here's what I want you to do. We've created a free playbook that'll actually help you with AI and help your business get recommended. So all you need to do is go to the show notes or the link that's in this video, and I'll send you this playbook for free.
But for me, the biggest takeout was writing.
Yeah. Okay.
And I started off by writing short stories, which were ways to talk about what had happened to me, but in a kind of a third person. So I'd create a character who would be me, but not me. And I would just write these short stories, and it was really therapeutic and cathartic to do that. I did some writing courses, found that I really loved the process of writing. And then in 2024, I actually wrote an 80,000 word novel.
Wow.
So that's what I did to kind of distract myself. It will never see the light of day. It was about a girl called Daisy, and honestly, she was a whingy, whiny little, what.
Well, how do it never see the light of day?
Because it was really it was all of my emotions coming out onto a page. It was angry. It was sad. It was pissed off. It was just, full of regret and angst, and it was all of that negativity that I was feeling around what had happened to me, self-pity.
Are you glad that you wrote that down on paper? Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm
because you're not before this, we're not naturally that type of person, right? Like you very positive, very outgoing, and then for this probably was the way to put it down on paper to leave it there.
Yeah, I needed to get it out of me, and honestly, it felt like something visceral climbing out of me.
Would you recommend that to other people that have gone start writing?
Writing is meant to be an extremely cathartic way to get emotions out and to whether it's journaling. Not everybody's into creative writing. I had been since I was a kid, but even just journaling and writing your emotions is so useful. I just found that a little bit too hard, if I'm honest. Writing about myself. So I don't know if this would be useful to other people, but writing in a third person, creating a character, giving her a name and a bit of a backstory, or him, and then making things happen that she had to react to, and that I could write all this stuff. So I kind of made, her be married to some idiot who was awful and let her down, so that I could write how I felt about that happening to me. I wrote about her loss of a child. It was different. I wrote she had a cot death, but I needed to write those emotions. I needed to put, and I found it easier because it wasn't about me. And maybe some people might prefer that to journaling. Journaling is quite present, and which is the beauty of it. But if you're not ready for that, then maybe write a story.
How did you stay a mum through all of this? Because, you do have other children.
Good
How
question.
did you cope with, that as well? Because, you got two other young people that need their mother and they're grieving as well. Like,
Yeah.
how did you handle that?
Oh, look, it was really tough at times. Also, I may not have mentioned, but Lauren was actually an identical twin.
Yeah. Mm.
So her sister was going through her own really traumatic loss.
Mm.
And losing a twin, especially an identical twin, is something that I would not wish on
Yeah.
my worst enemy. It is, like losing half of yourself. But then also, they weren't always close. And it happened in a moment in time when they were having a bit of a fight or whatever you want to call
Sisterly
it. Like
love.
sibling, whatever. Yeah. But that was when she died. And so there was loss, there was grief, but there was regrets. There was sadness about where they were. There was guilt
Yep.
to deal with.
Yeah. True.
And their father was obviously absolutely devastated, and we've been separated for 20 years, but the kids have always come to me for the emotional things. They go to him for all the practical stuff.
Yep.
Which car should I buy? Which mortgage should I get out? And all that kind of stuff. But they come to me for everything to do with anything emotional.
Yeah.
And it was hard to be there for them, which I absolutely wanted and needed to be.
Yeah.
When I felt like I was broken and parts of me were missing. It was really, really difficult. And, and it will be the same for any mother going through anything. But yeah, there were times when I would not be able to be there for them, and we would have an argument because I just was empty. I was on empty. And it happens. You can't be perfect.
No.
But I think for me, and you've got kids, you'll understand this. If they know that you are always there for them and that you will always love them no matter what.
Yeah.
If you can't be for a little while, they were worried about me.
True, they would have been.
They were worried about me. My son was really worried about me. My daughter was really worried about me. I've also got a grandchild who is nearly 5 now, but at the time she was 2.5, 3. I didn't want her to pick up on any of the negative feelings and this toxicity that was around. So it was hard for everybody.
Yeah.
Families can get destroyed by grief like this.
So when you think back now and you're starting to talk about this and the word resilience comes up, well, what's your definition of resilience now?
I actually wrote a really good bit about it, which I can't read off because I can't remember it word for word, but I would say that for me, resilience is that feeling on the inside where you know that whatever happens to you, somehow you will be okay.
Okay. Yeah.
That you will cope.
Yeah.
That you will get through it.
Yeah.
And even if you don't know how in this moment in time, resilience is that belief that one day you will be okay and you will come through it. And it can be in so many different forms. But, I equate it to feeling like you are in winter, in the depths of winter. Everything is cold and gray and damp. But you know that one day the sun will come out.
Spring's gonna,
and the flowers will grow and the sun will shine and you will feel warmth on your face. And you will feel, the soft summer breeze. Once again, that will happen. It's and I think knowing that, but is important, but you've got to kind of realize that resilience takes a little bit of effort in order to make it happen. And Lucy talks about this in her podcast, her TED Talk rather, and she talks about, this is one of the things that I found most helpful is, will this thought help or harm me?
Nice.
And like we all know how our thoughts kind of go mad, and when you're sad and angry or whatever, your thoughts can just take over and be not helpful. And so I would, if I could feel myself going down a bit of a rabbit hole, And I became a real ruminator. I think that happens when you
Yep.
when you go through a loss. You can't stop thinking about certain things. For me, it was the accident. I would start thinking about all kinds of things to do with the accident, which I don't want to think about now. And I couldn't stop myself.
Yeah.
So I would have to say, is this helping or harming me? And I would go, no, this is going to harm me. So let me think of something else. What can I think about that is going to distract me from this very harmful thought that I'm having? That was such, it was so good. It's like whether people say have a rubber band on your wrist.
Pinch yourself out of it,
Yeah, pinch yourself, change your train of thought, think about something else. For me, it was writing or cooking or something. I'd think of a recipe. Right, I'm going to think of a recipe and I'm going to cook for dinner because I still love cooking.
But that's the thing, right? So you actually use some tools to actually help you along the way, because if you didn't, you're going to go down that rabbit hole, and all of a sudden you're harming.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely.
And-
And we're all overthinkers.
Yeah,
Human beings.
everyone's an overthinker.
It's a human condition. So if you just let it go, then before you know it, you'll be right at the bottom of the rabbit hole, and it's dark and you cannot crawl out.
Yeah.
And that's, I've had depression. I have had it 3 times in my life. I understand what true depression can feel like when you feel hopeless and you cannot imagine that you can get out, but you need tools. Everything, I believe, whether it's business, whether it's home life, whether it's resilience, getting out of grief, everything, there are tools that you can use. And in most cases, I think we know what they are.
Well,
We just don't do it.
let's talk about a couple then, because I think that'd be a good practical thing what we could give people. What are some of the tools that you would recommend? Obviously that is one, asking that question, is this thought helping me or harming me?
Yeah.
And being honest, like, straight away. And so then, because you can have that question, and then if you say it's not helping you, how do you snap to what was your next thought? Like, did you start thinking of something like you're cooking, or like?
I would think of something else, or I would do something else.
Yep.
Like, for example, going out for a walk. And everybody says how helpful it is to get out in nature, to go for a walk. Well, yes, it is, but we don't always feel like it. And especially if you have depression, sometimes just getting up and going for a pee can feel like
A win.
So, but I would just get up and go outside, even if it was just going out into my back garden. Or I would go and walk around the block. It might take me 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I might, encourage myself by saying you can stop at the garage and get a chocolate bar.
Yeah, nice.
But I would do something to change, rather than just carry on lying there and doing nothing and feeling miserable and going down that rabbit hole more and more. I would just have to change something physically.
So really make an effort, change it, change the area, change your environment, change your state.
Yeah. One thing that was quite funny, I'm not known, a lot of my friends will say this, I'm not known for being the tidiest person in the world. I'm a typical kind of slightly ADHD entrepreneur, kind of always thinking creative person, right? So I am not. I've always got clutter, and there's always usually some dishes or something in my sink. I just don't see it. It just doesn't bother me. When all of this happened, I became a neat freak. So another way that I got myself out of that kind of rabbit hole overthinking thing was to get up and clean and tidy and sort and do all of that.
Yeah.
It was like, what is wrong with
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
It was so weird.
Was it keeping yourself busy?
It was, do you know, it was doing 2 things, Scott. It was keeping me busy and allowing me to change my state.
Yeah. Which is so important.
It is so important. But it was also giving me some semblance of control, because I felt so out of control.
Yeah.
I felt like my life was like on a water chute heading. I just was bouncing around. I felt like I had no control over my life. Everything was going. Things were disappearing. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my career. I had no idea if I would ever work again. I felt I was renting a house. I was just feeling so out of, displaced and out of control. Being tidy, being organized, making sure that everything was put away every night. My wardrobe was immaculate. Everything, which is probably normal for some people, but it wasn't for me. But that gave me some control. And so that, again, was how I think I got out of that. And that was unique to me.
Controlling what you can control, right? And that that was unique to you because you weren't like that.
Yes.
And all of a sudden you were like, oh, I can control this part.
Yeah. So other people may have other things, but I have heard lots of people say that cleaning helps, that they just go into cleaning mode or whatever. And some people run.
Yeah.
I couldn't run to save my life, but it was, if you just find whatever helps you. And I think whatever helps you get in flow of some sort, like writing helped me get in flow.
Yep.
And I also paint. And that was something that I rediscovered, writing, reading, painting. Those were all things I loved when I was a child.
Yeah.
And the minute I got into work and business and relationships and life, I let them all go.
Yeah.
I've refound them.
Nice. Because I was going to ask, like, and like, it's a question that might seem strange, but is there a gift out of all of this? Is there a gift? Have you found a gift?
Yeah. That's a good question. Yes. And I feel odd saying it, but because who on earth would say that the death of your child could ever have any kind of silver lining or positive situation? But I believe that you have to make sense of it somehow.
Yeah.
And for me, there have been lots of gifts that have come from the situation that occurred, not necessarily the actual thing, but the things that I went through. There have been lots of gifts. One has just been knowing myself better.
Yep.
That's been huge. Knowing what I want.
Yeah.
Knowing what I want to do. And how I want to live my life.
Yeah.
I'm used to be a bit of a party girl. I'm not anymore because it doesn't have any meaning for me anymore. I still enjoy. I'm very social. I'm an extrovert. But, going out and drinking to excess and calling that fun is not something, and I'm not dissing anybody that does that because I used to do that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't equate to fun for me. So I feel like I am a more evolved person now as a result of what has happened. My relationship with my daughter is 1,000,000 times better than it was.
Okay.
We are closer. We are more in tune with one another. Because of what happened, we leaned on each other and totally just relied on one another to get through this terrible time, rather than, because she's an adult, she's 30.
Yeah.
When you say, how did you cope being a mother? They're not babies, they're not children.
No.
So I had to recognize that I didn't need to mother her or them in the same way. But I just needed to be there for them. But both of them actually wanted to be there for me as well.
Yeah.
And so that kind of synchronicity has improved our relationship so much. And so I'm very grateful for that. That's been a real blessing.
Yeah.
My relationship with my granddaughter, my God, she's saved me so much, so many times in the last 2.5 years. And because I haven't been working like a crazy person like I used to, I've had time to spend with her.
Yeah, that's nice.
I've had time to build a relationship with her. And she calls me Gigi, which is, I love that. And, she just, we have sleep.
Well, that's a gift right there, right? Like that's
she's a blessing. She's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is like being really grateful for the small things.
Yep.
I've rediscovered how to keep my pot plants alive, and makes me very happy.
Yeah.
When they get new leaves, I'm screaming, going, "Oh my God, we're having a baby!" And I'm so excited by it.
I love it.
And it's small.
Well, being grateful is a massive part of everyone's journey, and if you could just be more grateful for those little things, you can be grateful for the bigger things. Like being grateful is I think it's a real skill.
It's a superpower.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
And I think if I'd known that when I had depression before, that it was important to be grateful, I probably would have come out of it again. This time, I knew that was important. And grief, it makes you a crazy person, and you don't even remember the things. You can't remember your own name half the time. You get such terrible brain fog, and plus, we won't talk about menopause, but that was happening at the same time. So it was pretty bad. My brain fog was dreadful. But I learned through this whole process to give myself some grace and to be kind to myself and to be grateful and remember to be grateful for all the small things.
Yeah.
So whether it's a bud on the rose in the garden, a new leaf on a plant, eating something, food took on a whole new kind of thing because I got a lot of pleasure from going to a cafe, sitting, writing my book, drinking a beautiful coffee and eating an almond croissant. You know, it was
not missing those small
not
stuff.
missing the small things.
Capturing that.
Yeah, really important. And I'd say if you just are feeling really down and sad or, you know, filled with grief, just start with really small things.
Yeah. So good, so powerful, right?
Yeah.
Well, when you think like now, what's next? I know you're up to a few things, and obviously family's still a massive part of that, and obviously it's so good to hear your granddaughter. But what are you doing now? And I'd love to know the lens that you're looking through. You know, some of those other business opportunities now that you're looking at, like, and like, is the passion for the entrepreneurial side of you still there, or is it a wee bit?
So I think I'll start by saying, you know, as I said, I wrote a novel last year. I have got the bug, and so I'm writing another novel, which is much more entertaining and happy and a bit funny.
So once this one becomes a bestseller, you might have to bring out the other one, and you never know, that could look, because there's lots of people that write dark and gloomy stuff that become world famous. I went to school with one of them, so. You know?
Well, you never know.
Yeah.
But I actually don't even really care if it never gets published. I write because I love it. I love the process. I love creating the characters. It is a wee little bit like playing God. You know, you get to decide what haircuts people have and what color eyes and how they react and what their person. I love it. And I'm a closet sort of I love psychology and what makes people tick. So writing people and how they interact, I find quite fascinating. So I'm doing that, and I'm also in the process of writing a memoir about my story in a way, because I found so many books and so many memoirs and so many stories helpful to me.
True.
And not only does it help me to write this down, but if it helps even one person, then it's worth it.
Okay,
and again, it's that, you know, I have a voice, and it keeps Lauren alive. It makes some sense out of a really senseless thing that happened. I know that some people would say, you know, I'm a private person and I don't want to talk about what's happened to me. And why do you want to talk about it? And everybody's different.
Totally.
For me, it really helps. And if none of us talk about our challenges, we only talk about the good things that happen. If we only look at Facebook and Instagram and even LinkedIn and say, wow, aren't those people doing so well? And we never, ever hear about the challenges that they're having, then we'll just feel so bad about ourselves. I think I want people to go, you know, I'm having a really crap time right now. And I don't know how to get through it. But actually, I just heard this podcast, or I read a bit of a book or an extract or something. And there was some things in there that I really have helped me. That's what I want, because that's what happened to me.
I like that. You know, I went to a thing with Mike King the other day, a charity auction.
I saw that,
And it was something he said really resonated with me. You know, go home and actually tell your kids you've had a shit day. You know, so often we try and sugarcoat things because we're trying to protect people. Actually, just tell them the truth, because they'll become more resilient because of it, because they've had a shit day, and because you're not being open enough to say that you've had a shit day, well, they're never going to tell you about their shit day.
But it's also not being authentic, and it's not mirroring the way that you want them to be. So I agree totally. And that was part of my grief, was to say, I am grieving, I am struggling, even to my own children. I didn't want to dump it on them. I think that's different. But I think communicating it in such a way is good. So I want to write my memoir. It might be a few years before I'm finished, but that's part of the thing. Then the other side of the work was to work out what I wanted to do.
Nice.
You know, after the restaurant, I had decided to go into real estate, and I did my papers and started, and I was actually working when the accident happened. And I couldn't equate, after the accident happened, I could not equate working in real estate. There's nothing wrong with it. But I personally could not equate that with the person I wanted to be moving forward. And so I left and have been really not working very much over the last couple of years. I've done a few writing jobs and bits and pieces like that. But I decided I needed a bit of a mantra to identify what I wanted to do. Because I think if you don't name it, you're never going to get it.
Yeah, true.
And I really felt like I had to name what it was. And I came up with, I want to do meaningful work that brings me joy with good people.
Nice.
Right? That's
Meaningful
all I
work.
wanted to do. Meaningful work that brings me joy with good people.
Nice.
And I wanted all three. I would settle for 2 of those things, but I really wanted to try and achieve all 3. And it's really interesting that when you put that out to the universe, you start to see things that you maybe wouldn't see. And things start to come to you that you maybe would not have identified. So yeah, I've had some great opportunities come up and with people that I really enjoy. So I'm in the process of launching a company called Ultimate Stays with one of my best friends, Jo, and she's been running this business in Queenstown and Picton and the Marlborough Sounds. And it's an Airbnb property management business that specializes in really quality, not necessarily expensive, but quality properties. And we are launching this in Christchurch over the next couple of months. I think the time is right. It really buys into my love of Christchurch and wanting to be a part of the rebuild of this city. And the fact that we've got so many great buildings and facilities and resources all coming online, which, I was working on at Sierra when I was there many years ago. We didn't think it would take this long, but we're here now. That's great. And there's a lot of property that is being purchased by people who know that this is the city to be in right now. Lots of Aucklanders. I was just in Auckland for the weekend, and lots of people up there are going, well, I can't afford to buy a property. I'm going to buy one in Christchurch.
Yeah, true.
So I'm really excited about being a part of this. It ties in with my hospitality background as well, making sure that people, the service that they get is great. I love interior design. We're setting up, in fact, I'm going up to Picton this weekend. We've, Joe's got a beautiful, like $3.5 million property that's just about to come online in Picton. If you want a holiday in Picton, check out the Ultimate Stays website. It's absolutely beautiful, and we're going to go and set it all up. It's just been vacated and repurchased by new owners.
Nice.
And it's got an indoor heated swimming pool.
Very good.
Beautiful views. And so, I'm going to go up there and help her do that. So I'm very excited about that opportunity. And the other thing that I am doing is something, because you're a bit of a rugby fan.
Yeah, I love my rugby.
Yeah. So
just on that though, when you look at your breakdown of what your meaningful work that brings you joy with good people, you hit the nail on the head with that one, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And your lens, the lens that you started to look through, has delivered that. How cool is that?
It is really good. And one thing, when I said that my speech or my book is going to be called, the year the universe gave my life an enema, at that time, I really thought the universe had it in for me.
Yes.
I really did. And I did go through a bit of self-pity where I thought, oh my God, what is going on? The universe, I used to feel like the universe had my back. I used to feel like I could rely on it.
Yeah.
And then all of this stuff happened, one thing after another and after another. And I was just like, it's forsaken me.
Yeah.
And I'm all on my own. And I'm not a religious person, so I'm not talking about religion or anything like that. But what I have learned is when you step back from all of these things that have happened, I actually can see, apart from Lauren, obviously I'm not talking about Lauren, everything else in my life needed to go.
Yes.
The universe did me a favor.
Yeah.
It did me a favor. And all of those things that went, all of the stuff that's happened needed to go, needed to be cleared out to make way for these opportunities, I believe.
Yeah.
Maybe the writing of the book is one thing I was meant to do. Maybe this business is meant to be something I do. And this the charity project I'm involved with.
Yeah.
I believe that that's what is meant to have happened to me.
Yeah.
And I had to make room for it, but I couldn't do that on my own.
No.
So that's my belief. I know some people might be shaking their heads going, you lunatic, but that's my belief.
Yeah.
And I think all we do is believe the things that make us able to get up in the morning.
Yeah. Well, end of the day, you live through that as well. So that is, what you've come into as well. You mentioned charity. You mentioned rugby. What's that? What's happening there?
So I've been doing some marketing work for a company called Total Sports Tours, who've been going in Christchurch for 20 years, run by a guy called Phil Robson, who was a rugby and sports coach at Boys High for 20 years.
Yep.
And they do school tours to and from New Zealand.
Oh, wow.
And mainly rugby, but also other codes like hockey and netball and football. And he is good mates with Norm Maxwell.
Okay.
Right?
Wow.
Now, I had to be told who Norm Maxwell was because I didn't know. But now, so Norm has apparently been having, he's had some mental health issues after leaving the game, which apparently I've learned is very common.
Yep.
You're in the heyday,
Spotlight.
thousands of people screaming your name and spotlights and everything.
Yeah, well, he was a big All Black. I think he played 30.
Literally.
Yeah,
6'7".
36 Test matches for the All Blacks. He was a Crusader. From I think he played for Northland to start with. And,
yeah. Then he played for Linwood down here, and Crusader. So he's had an amazing career. So what do you do after that?
Yeah.
And so he was struggling with his mental health, and he took up yoga.
Oh, wow.
And as part of his yoga practice, he started going to India to learn and study yoga. And he met these kids who are part of a rugby club called Kello Rugby.
Oh, wow.
They are, we would call them street kids or underprivileged children. A lot of them are orphans.
Yep.
Living on the street, that kind of thing. Kello Rugby take them in and they educate them, clothe them, feed them, and they learn to play rugby and they learn the skills that come along when you learn a sport, teamwork.
Yeah.
A lot of these kids lived on their own from a really young age, we're talking 2 or 3 years old, living in train stations and things like that. So they don't learn to trust other people. Sport makes you trust other people. You work as a team. And these kids now have got this dream to play rugby. Norm has been going over there for years and coaching them.
Wow.
And so he came up with this idea and spoke to Phil, how about we bring over a team of kids and give them, show them Christchurch, show them New Zealand, get them to meet some All Blacks.
Yeah.
And I suggested, because they were talking to me about running this project, and I said, well, why don't we do an exchange? Because wouldn't it be incredible to take some Kiwi kids over to India and give them a sense of what life is like when you don't have the latest iPad and you don't have the latest phone and you don't drive around to school and you have to, these kids walk in bare feet everywhere, and yet they are grateful. Going back to that gratitude, they're grateful. They have a love of life from having nothing that makes them feel like they're grateful for the smallest things that we talked about. And so, they loved the idea. And so we set up a charity called the New Zealand India Sporting Exchange Trust, because the idea is that in maybe subsequent years, it could be any sport rather than just rugby. And this particular project is called the Kolkata Kiwi Exchange. So that's the one that's taking place in September of 2026. Norm and Phil actually have just come back from India, where they went and met all the kids and saw all of the facilities and organized what the tour will look like. And they came back saying, this has to be a girls' tour.
Wow.
Because there are so many girls over there that play rugby. Yeah. They love it. And it's an opportunity for them to get out of the marriage, babies, working in a tea plantation life that all of the kids have.
That was interesting watching the article that was on YouTube. I'll link it in the show notes here. The parents talking about, hey, this is an opportunity for their daughter to do something else rather than work in the tea factory.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was like, and you can see these kids have a dream, right? Like they
absolutely.
and you watch them playing rugby, like they know how to throw a ball around. Like it's not like they don't, they're standing,
No.
watching some 5-year-old kids play rugby. These kids are running.
Oh my
There was
gosh,
intercept
yeah.
passes. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on.
And the ones that get older and are playing rugby and some of the boys, like Norm was saying, these guys are hard as nails. They have lived on the street.
Yeah, true.
They are hard to play against. He says they tackle like there's no tomorrow, and they are tough. And they want to be in the Olympics. So India has just launched an actual rugby league. They are, they're historically a cricket country, but they are getting behind rugby now. Rugby India is a massive organization. And so also next year, so this is what I mean about synchronicity in the universe.
Yeah.
So we had this conversation. We did not know any of this, but next year is the 100th centenary of the first time that India and New Zealand ever played sport against one another.
Oh, wow.
And there is a lot of activity being organized by the government and by Sport New Zealand to celebrate this.
Yeah.
So
perfect timing, right?
Yeah, we didn't know that. We were just like, wow, that's incredible. Also, the government have been talking nonstop about how they want to increase trade with India and education with India.
Yeah.
It's a huge market for us as a country. And so it's perfect. It's perfect timing. We're really excited about it. We need a lot of money. We're fundraising. We're doing a big event at Tapai in March of next year.
Oh, wow.
With a lot of All Blacks and with Black Ferns as well supporting and coming along. And so,
Is that like a charity event?
It is a charity event, yeah.
Okay, cool. So
I will let you know about that.
Yeah, we could definitely put it in the show notes and definitely promote it.
That would be amazing.
Whatever we can do.
Yeah, we need all the help to make, it takes a village to make things like this happen. And it's not just about the Indian kids, but it's also about the Kiwi kids going, let's give them an experience and let's give them new friends to make and new opportunities.
It's exciting. Like sport gives you opportunities, right? And it doesn't matter what level you play at. Sport gives you opportunities. And if you can get kids involved in sport and, just even watching that article, you can definitely see the eyes of light up, and it's pretty cool that All Black went over there to learn yoga and all of a sudden he sees there's another opportunity to help. I think that's the coolest part. Like people just here are just looking to help kids. So
they're the
exciting.
And if we can actually if we want to make changes, then we start with the young people. And again, this falls perfectly into
your mantra.
My mantra.
Oh, totally.
So, if I hadn't created that mantra, would it all have happened? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think
What do you think?
you putting the mantra out there definitely sends a signal that this is what you're open for. So universe, send it my way.
Yeah.
And then it's your job to filter that because there'll be lots of opportunities come your way, but you've got to filter those to in alignment with what you're wanting, right? And universe is a powerful thing.
It is. And I think we just should believe in it, whether
totally.
whether we think it's working for us or not, because actually I think it always is.
Yeah, I think it always is. And it's being open to allowing it in to work for you too, right?
Being willing, just having that a willingness to believe.
Yeah.
And I mean, the speaking thing as well as the other area, I'm really wanting to expand on that. And just to get the story out there, to help people in whatever way I can. And to live life with joy and gratitude.
Yeah. Well, seriously, this has been a fascinating conversation, and I really admire your courage to come on and share. And I really appreciate you sharing because I know people will listen to this, and then there'll be a lot of people listen to this. There'll be more people that tune into this for, like the reason, not just around marketing. They'll be going through things and they'll be looking for, oh man, I'm not alone here. Other people have gone through this, and I think that's the thing that really struck me too, is you realize that you just want to help other people, because not everyone wants to have a voice and tell their story. And I think it's brave to tell your story. It's brave to stand up and it's brave to share, but it's also exciting that you're finding other things to do that are lighting you up.
Yeah.
Which is very cool, right? So I really appreciate you being on.
Thank you very much.
So you have a job now. Your job is to share this podcast. Like you might know someone that's going through a few things and maybe they need to hear Sheena's story and like you've heard, Like there's, as my grandmother always says, a problem shared is a problem halved. And I think sometimes people just need to hear someone else's story, and this is a pretty powerful story.
You know they're not alone.
They need to know they're not alone, and that's important, right? Because other people care about them, other people, and you sharing this with them will show that you care as well. So please share it, and also best way to contact you.
So I haven't got a website or anything myself, but you can go to the Total Sports Tour website to look at the event, and you can also go to Ultimate Stay's website, and you'll find my contact details
Brilliant.
on there.
All right, we'll put in the show notes. We'll put everything in there so people can contact you.
Wonderful.
I'm excited. I'm excited about the going to the All Blacks event.
Yes,
'cause
it'll be fantastic.
I'll show you my room soon. I've got some memorabilia up.
Oh gosh.
Always looking for
One of
opportunities.
those.
Always looking for opportunities to buy more memorabilia. And I know quite a few people that are like that. Brent Selwyn, you'll be coming along to this one. So yeah, really appreciate your time. Go share the podcast. Do it. Appreciate it. Tag myself in on LinkedIn. Tag myself and Sheena in on LinkedIn, and let us know what you found really good and some of the things that you're taking away. So until then, have fun, take action, and as always, celebrate your victories.